Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Restoration Lab time. It is March 16th, 2026. Got a little snow on the ground, so I'm wearing my hat so my bald head stays warm. Today, this is one of my very favorite conversations. I actually like all of the topics that we do in Restoration Lab, but this one here is really, it showcases the big picture goal of what we try to do in this group here a little bit, but specifically in the collective. And I think this is a huge hole in the market. So we're going to talk about this today. I'm super passionate about this because this is my personal experience is what has brought me to this point in my career and what I'm offering to you guys and the information that I'm sharing with you all on a regular basis, a weekly basis, a daily basis, and then also what we do with people over in the collective. So I have a script so I can keep on track here. So yes, I'm going to look down at it. All right. So most of you in this group, or all of you in this group, came to this group because you have an injury and you're trying to overcome it. And it's super frustrating. But I understand that completely. You know, last week, as you saw, I was dealing with a little bit of a knee thing. It's better now. Went to jiu-jitsu today. As a matter of fact, I didn't even think about it until right now. So that's how much better it is. But you know, when you have injuries and you have to take time off from doing activities that you love, whether it's whatever hobby or sport that you're active in, or spending time with your family, or getting outside and being active, or like yesterday, I had to do some snow shoveling. Uh, it's important that we're able to use our bodies, particularly as we age, because we know as we age, the more sedentary and less active we become, quite frankly, the quicker we age. So I just turned 50 a couple, about 4 weeks ago. And to be honest with you, I want to stay as active as long as I possibly can because I don't want to get old, right? And I think that most of us here can agree with that, and they understand, and we understand that. So what happens oftentimes is that we have an injury and we either try and rest and ice it, and I feel like a lot of us are starting to understand now that rest and ice isn't the way out. So we go on the Instaface or the Tickgram or the Snapbook, and or the YouTube, and or the Googler or the AI or whatever you use. Maybe you go and you talk to a couple people. You have some friends that are physical therapists or chiropractors or yoga instructors or personal trainers or massage therapists, and you get 800 pieces of advice. And next thing you know, you are doing 452 exercises and not knowing what the heck you're doing. And that's a real frustration. I know I was there when I was going through my back stuff. It was super frustrating because I was trying all the things and I just couldn't make any long-term progress. And I understand why now. And we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But I understand why that was happening. And it was so frustrating. I would have people come into my practice when I'm still like doing hands-on massage and injury recovery work. And I would help people recover from back pain and they would feel much better and they would get back to being active. And here I am broken down. I can't stay active for longer than 8 weeks without pain, and being active was something I dreamed for. I went out to California one time to train martial arts. I thought I was good. I trained so hard. I really tried to prepare myself. And I went out, and the first day, my back goes out on me. And then the next 3 days, I'm, sitting on the sidelines, watching everybody train and have fun and do the thing, and watching people who, quite frankly, didn't have as much skill and talent as I did showcase their skill and talent to this group of instructors that I wanted to train with and wanted to have a relationship with. But who in the hell wants to have a relationship with the guy that's beat up and broken down? You know? And so that was super frustrating. I would watch my students, and of course, I wanted my students to get as good as they possibly could, but I wasn't able to go on that journey with them oftentimes, because I couldn't train as hard as they could. And that was very frustrating to me as well. So the thing that we want to start to think about is, you know, when we throw all of this DIY stuff into it, or we're getting all of these, this advice from these different people, or maybe even, you ponied up and went to PT, and you know, you got a stack of exercises this big, um, and you're kind of maybe you get through 12 weeks and you feel better, but after that you're left to your own devices. And oftentimes what I see is people get out of PT feeling pretty good, maybe not 100%, but better, and they relapse, or they re-injure themselves because there's no progression after that. So that's a huge thing. And what I want to be able to help you do is understand how you can go from I'm that I'm an injured person to, man, I'm strong, capable, and confident in my body, and I can go out and start to take risks again that I didn't think was going to be possible, 6 weeks ago, a year ago, whatever it is. And I mean, today, case in point, I had my knee issue last week. I didn't go to jujitsu at all last week, and I went in today and trained really hard, and I didn't even think about it once. So, that's the thing that I want to help you guys all be able to do. So here's what we call the RBLD Athlete Path, and this is what we get into in the collective. Our first stage is reset, and we have to take you from where you're currently at, wherever that is with your injuries, and we have to reset. We have to get you back to square one, so where you're able to do things day to day and not have pain. You're able to go, be active with your friends, family, and loved ones, or if it's part of your job, and not worry about it. Also, like if you sit like a lot of us do for your job, you're able to sit at work and not have constant chronic nagging pain. So we need to reset that thing. And once we're able to do that, then what we start to do is we start to rebuild. And what does that mean? We go from you're not having pain day to day, you're able to do normal activities. We're starting to stress test the work, meaning you are able to go from I can't do anything to I feel better. And now we're going to start to progressively scale you back into your activity of choice, whether it's running, biking, like for me, jujitsu, lifting weights. Again, just being active with your friends and family and loved ones. Being able to take on more activity and external load, and again, risk. When you have a bad back, or when you're sore and injured, like after I tore my right meniscus in 19, by the time 2021 came around, I couldn't go for a walk with my wife on days during the summer. My knee would lock up, it'd get super sore, it would feel unstable. Or even if I was able to go for a walk with her, I wasn't able to enjoy it. And that's something that's really important to me. When I'm spending time with my wife outside, I want to be able to enjoy the time with her. I want to be able to enjoy. We're in Minnesota, I mean, like we don't get warm, sunny days 364 days, 365 days of the year. We get warm, sunny days consistently between, and when I mean warm, sunny days, I'm talking about 50. Between like late April into late October, mid October. Like we have a very narrow window for us to be able to do that. So I want to be able to get outside and enjoy that, going for walks with my wife. whether it's walks around the neighborhood or hikes. And I wasn't able to do that. I didn't go on hikes with her. I didn't go out for walks with her number of times because I was like, man, my knee is really jacked up today. It just doesn't feel like it's good. And for someone who prides himself on being strong, that was, oh my gosh, was that deflating to me, and was that discouraging. So we reset you, and then we rebuild you. And the rebuild phase is we're going to start to increase the demand that we place on your body so the body can then remodel, it can become stronger, and it can start to handle those activities that are more strenuous than what you were doing previously. So that's really important. From there, we reintegrate. And now the goal is let's get you back to the thing that you love to do. Again, for some of you is running, some of you is riding your bike, for some of you is playing with your kids. Like one of the things for me was going out, be able to go out for a hike with my wife, getting back to jujitsu, and not worrying about being in positions where I'm like, oh my gosh, like I got to really worry about my knee here, and I have to focus more attention on my knee than I can to learning the thing that I'm trying to learn. I want to get back to skateboarding a little bit this summer. I have some plans for this summer. I want to get back to riding my mountain bike this summer. Back in 21, 22, that wouldn't have been possible. I couldn't have went out in 21 and skateboarded with any confidence that I wouldn't screw my knee up. And same thing with mountain biking. So those are that reintegration. We want to get you back to doing that thing. And then part of that reintegration then is at the end of that is um, you know uh, return, full return, where you are back doing your thing. You're confident, you feel capable, you feel strong. We've increased the strength of your joints. We've increased your lean muscle mass. We've increased your raw strength numbers. We've increased your mobility. We're getting you so that you're a capable athlete. And I hate to use this and use me as an example for this for all the time, but it's literally the way that I've developed this system has been around my own personal experiences. So I know that the system works if we give it enough time. And if you give it enough time, I know that it works. So, getting back into that time frame of being able to return confidently to the activities that you love to do. That's the important thing. Return confidently to the activities that you love to do. And then we get into what we call legacy. So what is legacy for us? Legacy is starting to think long term. Like, how can we make you better at the thing that you like to do? How can we make you more resilient? How can we start to set a foundation for you over the next 10, 20, 30 years so that you can be that active older, you can be that person that's active when you're older in your life. So again, this goes back to dialing in strength numbers, like really starting to get after it in the gym, where you are focused on getting stronger, you're focused on getting more mobile, you're focused on getting more capable, you feel more resilient, you have all of that confidence back, and going into the next 10, 20, 30 years, you're going to be in a better place than you were 6 months ago or whenever you started working with us. And for me, that's the goal. Like, I know that given, barring any unforeseen circumstances that I can't predict, if I continue on the path that I'm on, I'm going to be stronger at 55 than I am currently at 50. And I don't believe a lot of people can say that. I'm going to be more mobile at 55 than I was at 50. And I don't believe a lot of people are going to be able to say that. I'm very confident that that's going to happen. So we want to start to look towards the future, and we want to start to look at, like, where do I want to be? Who do I want to be when I'm 50, 60, 70, 80? I want to be that active person. I want to be that person that's on Instagram, that we see on Instagram. Like, for whatever reason, recently the Instagram algorithm is showing me 80-year-olds who are running sprints. They're running races. There's, it's showing me there's a guy. Gosh, I can't remember his name right now. He's a boxer in the UK in his 80s. Holy crap! This guy looks great. And one of the things that I really want, so the last powerlifting meet I did in 1999, this has stuck out to me, and this will stick out to me forever. The last powerlifting meet I did in '99, and this was not this was not a drug-free meet. It was a meet where definitely guys were taking steroids or testosterone. The loudest pop or cheering that happened was for a guy that was in, I don't know, 60s, 70s, 80s. Maybe, yes, somewhere between, let's say somewhere between 70 and 85, somewhere in there. He was squatting, maybe he was squatting his body weight. Maybe he was deadlifting, 50 pounds over his body weight. Maybe he was benching his body weight. I don't remember. But everybody to a person in that room was so excited to watch that guy go, because you know why? It gave them hope. It gave us all hope. And I was like, 99, I was 23. And I remember this guy, and I remember everybody just like going nuts when this guy was squatting, benching, and deadlifting. And I know this also from jujitsu. There comes a point in time in jujitsu where nobody cares how tough you are. It's the fact that you're on the mat. And that's the thing, right? And in races, like I remember running 5Ks with my wife when we first were dating. And I remember seeing people in their 60s and 70s and 80s out there running 5Ks. They were running longer than we were. And as these people, as I was seeing these people at the races, I was thinking, man, that is so cool. Right? Gosh, look at those people getting after it at their age. And then I also happen to have four really good role models to look up to. One was my great grandmother. We call her Grandma D. Her last name is Davis, so we could call her Grandma Davis. I had the good fortune of knowing both of my great grandmothers on my dad's side. So one was Grandma Shorty, and she had a little short-haired mini schnauzer. And so we called her Grandma Shorty, and then there was Grandma D. And by the way, neither grandma was tall, but Grandma D lived to be 94. And I remember seeing her about 6 months before she passed, because she would go down to Florida for the winter, and I saw her the fall before she passed. And I asked her, I said, "Grandma, how are you doing?" Now, when we went to Grandma's house, I took my girlfriend at the time because I wanted her to meet Grandma. And I wanted to see Grandma as much as I possibly could, because I knew, she's 94, she's 93. Like, how much time do I really have left with her? And she made us a little snack tray, and she brought it out and set it down in front of us. And she sits down, and I go, "Grandma, how you feeling?" And she says, "Oh, you know, I'm just tired." And I said, "Well, Grandma, you're 93. You're kind of supposed to be tired." She said, "No, Sean, I just don't have the desire to get on my bike like I used to." And she had an old Schwinn stationary bike that she used to ride all the time. And some of that was her exercise, and she knew that she had to stay active so that she could, so that she would age well. So Grandma was 94. One of my martial arts instructors is 90 and still teaching seminars to this day. And if you were to see him, even into his mid to late 80s, I was at a conference, a seminar in California in 2012. So he's probably like 76, 77 at the time, and he does a jump spin back kick. I mean, like, it was incredible. The guy's in it almost in his mid to late 70s, and he's leaving the ground and spinning around and throwing his leg out. My one of my other role models in this is my martial arts instructor back in Michigan. He is 75, and if you were to see Sifu Dave, you would not think he was 75. If we were to see his wife, you wouldn't think she was in her late 60s, early 70s. And then my martial arts instructor here in Minnesota, currently right now, Greg is 60. Now, 60 isn't that old, but Coach is something kind of special. He is a two-time stage 4 cancer survivor. And, like, there's no way that the fact that he's moving at all is impressive. And one of those stage 4 cancers was of his sciatic nerve. He can't feel his left foot because of the chemo and the cancer. Pretty much anything that was any type of cushion in his knees is gone from the chemo and the radiation. So the fact that Coach is on the mat still and we get to train with him at 60 is pretty impressive. But what Coach says, he's kind of got this raspy voice from coaching wrestling and fighters and yelling for years, and probably some of it's the cancer as well a little bit. But he says he's like, when I just step on the mat, nothing hurts anymore. And that's his mentality. He gets on the mat and he trains and he trains. We've got a guy this weekend, next weekend, this weekend. We've got a guy that's fighting in the UFC on Saturday. So, I want to be like those people. And barring any unforeseen circumstances, I'm pretty positive that I can be like those people if I'm able to stay consistent and active. And the last thing I'll say about this before we wrap up is that when I say consistent and active, I don't mean super intense. I don't. I just mean this slow, gradual progression of improving and challenging yourself for sure, but like not doing it the way that we tried to do it 20 years ago, when you were in your 20s or maybe even in your 30s, right? Respecting your body, respecting that we don't recover as well as we used to. Now, if you choose to get on some sort of testosterone replacement therapy, you start to look into like stem cells and peptides and HGH and things like that. Well, that changes the game completely. That just completely changes the game. But if you're not on any of those things, and I'm currently not on any of those things, there will come a point in time where I get on TRT. I guarantee it. As much for the recovery aspect, it is for some of the mental aspects as well, the mental emotional aspects. So like, can we get after it? But can we get after it in this slow, gradual way? You don't have to beat yourself down. And regardless of what people tell you online, you don't have to do that. And how do I know this? Because this is what I've done with myself for the last 5 years. And I'm consistently amazed at the progress that I've made over the last 5 years in my own personal journey. And also, I'm doing this with other people now. We're turning back the clock, and that's what I want to help you guys all do. So this Thursday, we have a workshop. You can register for it in one of the classrooms. The workshop is called "Why You're Broke After 40 and What to Do. Why Your Body Feels Broken After 40 and What to Do About It." We'll go through the workshop. It'll be about an hour presentation and then about a 30-minute question and answer, to answer anybody's questions. And then next week, we should have, we'll be starting the movement restoration, the 5-day movement restoration challenge. So if you watch this, you get to the end and you're interested in either one of those things, either reach out to me or reach out to Jerry and we can get you registered for the webinar. And then after the webinar, we'll get you registered for the movement restoration challenge, and we'll get you on the road to feeling better and confident and capable in your body. All right, everybody, have a great night. I will see you guys on Thursday. Talk soon.